this online pattern cutting tutorial, I will demonstrate how to create a gathered skirt with a yoke. Please like and subscribe to see more pattern cutting videos. You can make a request in the comments if there's any techniques you would like me to demonstrate. I'm going to be using the half scale blocks to make this pattern. So let's start by drawing the centre front line. I always do this with a different coloured pen, in this case it's pink. Right centre front. And then what I want to do is I want to do the hip line at a 90-degree angle to the centre front line. So I'm just going to place the 90-degree angle on top of that pink line, and I'm going to draw straight over. And then I'm going to draw the centre back line. Again, I'm going to do that in pink as well, so it's just more distinctive. And if you can get into the habit of working like this, where you set your work out properly when you start to draft, it's really, really helpful at later date. So trace off your front block by placing it on top of the centre front line and the hip line. Mark in your dart. And then we need to do the same to the back. So line it up on the hip line, same as the front. Trace around, put your dart in there. We're going to rotate that dart out later. So just going to mark it on. And we're going to join that dart down to the hem with a straight line. So before I cut it up, I just put CF and CB on there so we don't lose it. So I'm going to draw in the new yoke style line. So I'm going to go down 5 centimetres on the side seam. So just mark 5 cms down. And then at the front I'm going to go down 8 centimetres. Yeah, cool. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark 5 on the other side. So you see how, because they're lined up together, it's very easy for me to see what to do to the other one, because I do to the back what I've done to the front. Again, I'm going to mark down 8 centimetres. And then I need to draw in that style line using my Pattern Master or my grid ruler. Now there's a slight little curve in this, just a little gentle curve. So I'm just rotating my ruler ever so slightly. And can you see that the end of the dart does not touch that line? It will on the back, because the back dart is a lot bigger than the front dart. So a slight, because we want a right angle at the side seam, otherwise we'll get a pointy bit there. So we've got to have a little curve in this for this to look nice. So now we've created the yoke style line, we need to look into putting in some extra volume into the bottom of the skirt and creating the gathering effect. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to divide the bottom part of the skirt into 4 sections. So I'm measuring along the hip line, which I drew in at the beginning, and then same at the hem, and then I'm going to join those lines up, but not through the yoke, because the yoke is not having any volume added into it, it's just the bottom of the skirt that is. So I just put some crosses there through that old line because I don't want to get confused by that later. Then if I just number it before I cut it up so I don't also get confused and put things upside down and stuff, it's a good habit to get into. So now whatever I did to the front I need to do to the back. So I'm dividing the hem into 4, and then I'm going to divide the hip line into 4, mark it up, and then I'm ready to cut out. And then cut out the back. So we're going to need a fresh piece of paper, and I'm going to cut along that new style line for the front yoke. And now I'm going to pivot that dart out by cutting through the end of that line, and then they need to go right on top of each other, so it overlaps a little bit, but that line has to stay the same length, otherwise it's not going to fit. And then I'm going to tape that. So that's my top yoke, my front yoke. I can add seam allowance later. At that point there's no extra. And now I'm going to draw my centre front line again. And I'm also going to put the hip line back on because that's going to help me now. So cut out the 4 sections. And I'm going to use that hip line to help me lay them out so they're nice and even. So it's not long enough, so just extend it a little bit more. So I'm going to put 3 centimetres between each one. Line it up on the hip line, tape it down. Next one, 3 centimetres again. Line it up, tape it down. Then final 3 centimetres. So can you see how the bottom of that skirt's really quite big now, isn't it, compared to the other side? So I need to redraw in that hemline. And then here I've got to join that point to the centre front. So we're running through all of those points. We've got some little extra bits left over, but that's okay. But can you see how all those points join up? So we need a smooth line there. So now I've added 1 centimetre or half a centimetre seam allowance all around because we're working on a half scale, remember? Cut that out. So whatever we do to the front, we do to the back, and that's our finished pattern. So can you see? At the centre back yoke, we'll put a zip in there, so we'll have to do half a centimetre seam allowance.